A show that left quite an impression on me was Friday the 13th, the series. And this show ran from 1987 to 1990. Although short-lived, it left quite an impression on my life, especially as a horror writer. Now, this show ran in the 1980s. The 80s was a cool time. I mean, the hair, the clothes, the music. I loved everything about the 80s. Wish I could go back sometimes. But Friday the 13th, the series, wasn't anything about Jason Voorhees and his mom and killing, camp counselors, but it was more about cursed objects. Now, the show starred Jack Marshak, the character, and he ran a store for cursed goods with his niece and nephew, Micki and Ryan. And Micki and Ryan were like Jack's counterparts. They were always involved in his investigations. And what they were to do is, besides selling items out of the shop, now they didn't sell the cursed objects, they just sold antiques. But in the back, in the vault, they kept the cursed objects. Now, these are objects that they picked up from different missions that they were on, or different people that they served, where they needed to offload these cursed objects. So Jack and his niece and nephew took over the store from Uncle Lewis, and Uncle Lewis was a evil man. He sold his soul to the devil, and the devil came to collect. So he lost his soul, lost his life, and his shop, and Marshak and Micki and Ryan took over the store. So the show basically goes around kind of similar to The Conjuring, where there's these objects that are within, people's homes that have curses on them. So I like that the show followed these specific objects, and each object would do a particular thing. So I'm going to go over my favorite objects that were in the series. So with Uncle Lewis trading his soul for the devil, he basically left behind this shop with cursed objects. They kept these cursed objects in a vault, protected and locked away from the people who visit the store. So one of my favorite cursed objects was the vanity mirror. Now, this particular episode was about a girl who was very unattractive, and she wanted to be able to date the popular guy at school. She was the one that was shunned. People made fun of her. She was treated like trash, and she wanted to be able to enact her revenge. So what she did was she found this cursed mirror, and it was a compact case. Girls are always looking at their compact case to powder their nose. However, this particular compact case came with a curse. So whoever she could shine the reflection on, the person would be in love with her. So she saw this popular guy at school. He was the head of the football team. He was like debate captain. He was super popular and super cute. She shined the light on him, and he was able to take her to the prom. Now, when he comes and picks her up, she's dressed like super 80s. She has a poofy ponytail to the side, and she has on this dress with a ton of ruffles, and she looks a hot scrambled mess. However, her date is super into her. He loves her, and this mirror basically causes the person to fall madly in love with whoever the person who casts the spell. So he is just all over her. He's kissing on her, and they go to the prom together, and everything is great. However, people at the prom start to notice. They're like, why is he with this unpopular girl? Like, she's trash, she's ugly, and so on. So I don't remember the stuff in between, because it's been a while since I've seen this episode. However, they end up on the roof, and in order to be able to be in the moment and be with this guy, and she's super in love, she doesn't want to break the curse. People are forced. Micki and Ryan, they show up, and Jack Marshak, their uncle, they show up, and they're trying to stop her from using the compact. And instead of just handing the object over, she decides to unalive herself and her prom date, and they fall off the roof, and sadly to their deaths. So that's how the episode ends, and it is in another person's hands. They were unable to secure that particular compact. So some of the items get taken to the vault, and some of the items get lost, which I liked in the show. They didn't always win in every occasion. Another episode I liked is the teacup. This teacup is a white teacup. It has ivy embroidered on it, and the ivy can come alive. So whoever sips from the cup, the ivy will come out of the, detailing on the cup and strangle and kill the person. And when the cup does this to this particular person, it takes their youth. So the person who wants to be like a singer or an artist, it beefs up their creativity and it provides them youth, so where they can practice their craft for as long as they want to. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and that was one of my favorite episodes. Another one I liked is with the scalpel. And this particular one, bless any doctor who is using the scalpel with the ability to be a all-star, like a rock star surgeon. And they can cut with precision. They can be able to, on-site diagnose the problem. And it basically makes whoever wields the scalpel like this uber doctor, like somebody who is looked up to and somebody who they write articles and journals about because they're so amazing in their research and technology and the way that they can perform even the most risky surgeries. So this scalpel, the owner is this doctor. He's doing the surgeries, and every time he uses it, he's getting more recognition and more notoriety. And as he's doing it, he's like gaining such fame and so on. But people get seduced by these items. They're not just there. They have a dark side. They can take people's souls. They can seduce them to the point of death. There's always some type of precursor that comes with the particular item. So I enjoyed that one especially because it's easy to get caught up in the hype and to, toot your own horn and become this famous person because you're getting all this recognition because you're using this one particular item. Another one of my favorite episodes is the voodoo mask. So a voodoo priestess, she passes away and her soul or her spirit gets put into this mask. So whoever wears the mask possesses the ability to take other people's souls. So if they put it on, a cobra comes out of the mouth of the mask and it attacks the person and takes their soul. So the more souls this masked individual collects, the more powerful that they will become. And I thought that was neat because it tied in some, Haitian religion. It tied in some horror elements. It tied in some supernatural elements. And it was pretty cool how they did it. It was very scary when the person would don the mask. Another episode that I found fun, I believe it was a haunted syringe or some type of embalming equipment. Now, there's this particular doctor who would do these surgeries at his home. Now, sadly, his victims were not willing to get these surgeries done. He was actually trying to keep his young daughter alive via these surgeries. What he would do, he would take this cursed item, he would draw fluid from the person's neck, from their cerebellum. He would draw fluid from it and he would use that fluid to infuse in his daughter. And this would help calm her rage issues. Now, the daughter had some type of animalistic quality where she would develop these rage issues. She would become super strong. She would, claw people. She would want to rip out their throats and become madly and wildly aggressive and dangerous. So the father, in order to keep this illness in check, he had to then withdraw this chemical from the cerebellums of people and inject it into his daughter to keep her calm and sedated. So, and his daughter would appear normal. She would laugh and have fun every time the doctor would do this and inject his daughter. So he was carrying women in from all over the place. He generally hunted prostitutes, women who were just out on the corner and available for his picking. So he would kidnap them and bring them back to his lair and, take this chemical from their bodies, extract it, and then inject it into the daughter. So while he's doing this, of course, Micki and Ryan and Jack Marshak, they show up. They want this particular tool. I believe it's a cursed syringe. So they're trying to, take this thing. However, the doctor didn't lock up his daughter. He generally locks her in a room and chains her to the bed because she's that violent and aggressive. And in the end, she attacks and unalives her father. And it is the most gruesome manner that she does it because she's more animalistic than human in the first place. So if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, the series, you're missing out. Yes, it was short-lived. It was only on for 3 years. However, It's super 80s. It brings you back. And the idea of having these cursed items and locked into a vault and people experiencing these cursed items, it's a really good storyline to tap into, because sometimes we're at garage sales and we come across particular items and we don't know the history behind them. So I think it's pretty interesting how they put all of that together. And definitely check out Friday the 13th, this series. I believe it's available on streaming. If not, check Tubi or Netflix for it. But it's one of those gems in the rough that you could definitely check out. And again, it has nothing to do with Jason Voorhees or Friday the 13th, the movies. It's a series. It's specifically based, and it's about cursed objects that give people what they wish for. However, it has a twist and painful and dangerous outcome. If you heard of Friday the 13th, this series, definitely leave me a comment in the comment section and let me know. And also let me know what your favorite episode is. I'm curious to see if you've seen this short-lived show and what you thought about it.